Hi and welcome to Solarfpv. My name is Anas and I'm here at my desk. It's a windy day, but you could still fly drones, you could still have a great time. And I just got a new addition to the channel family of like RC vehicles. Here we go. So this is the WLToys 144010. I think I got that right, not the 01. So this is the brushless edition. Boom. And I've already had a hell of a lot of fun with this, been modding it a bit. It doesn't really come set up really nicely out of the box. It can drive and stuff, and it's set up with some seriously extreme toes out, excuse me, and toes in, and it's just, I had to adjust all these support arms, all these, to get the right camber. And I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you should be able to see this camber and a bit toes out, because you can see the insides of the wheels from the top, right? So maybe even better to see it from the back. I'm just going to turn it around. You can see I've got quite the camber. Well, not quite the camber, but some, at least some. And that just helps when driving off-road. And I looked at a lot of there are a lot of different toys from WLToys, WLToys, or WLTech. You can get one of these buggies. They also have a bigger one. This is 1/14 scale. It's 2S version. It can run on 3S, but I've seen people do that on YouTube here, and it goes fucking fast as fuck. But it's fast as fuck out of the box, so I don't really think, unless you really want to trash it, destroy it, then you might want to do that, because it's gonna skid when it turns upside down like hell. But yeah, it's kind of you can see it's taking a bit of damage, also a bit of stress marks there. You see that? Because I flipped it and stuff happened, and yeah. But it's still alive. Everything's doing fine. There's no issues with anything. It comes with these nicely what is it, like oil-filled shocks. And actually this one came filled all the way up to the top. So no nothing there. It just needed to be used to get kind of the oils flowing and stuff, you know. So that it can actually bounce back up and stuff. What else have I done? I've changed some things here, because it comes, like at the back you can adjust these little black inserts that goes into the, well, you can't see it. Black inserts right there. See that black thing right there where my nail is? That goes through the metal, and that it has like a hole through it. There's off to one side, so if you turn that black thing around, you can actually change the angle of the arm support strut, and that means you get more toes out or toes in, right? So I straightened it up because I don't really like that. I've had RC cars before, and I actually managed to be able to set this one up exactly like I like it, which is pretty cool for a cheap toy like this. And it is a cheap toy. A lot of the parts here, though, are real semi-pro RC toy parts that you can buy. This thing has amazing upgradable ability. You can change everything into aluminium parts. Aluminium, however, bends and is kind of weird to bend in place, and then it gets brittle in that spot. I would go with plastic with most of the parts, because both they're cheap and they're reliable, and otherwise than just iron, I think, if I could get iron parts. Yeah, but it's nice. It's a nice starter, beginner, semi-pro racing buggy. And this thing can go fast. I mean, I'm not going to show you, I'm just going to show you some FPV at the end of this video from this, because I've mounted a camera, and we're going to talk about that, obviously, because that's the whole thing of the name of the video. Man, I'm great at this. Sorry, my voice is really busted today. I don't know why. I've been coughing a lot. Might be that corona stuff again. Who knows? But yeah, it comes with a really okay user manual. Kid friendly. I think it's 14 plus, telling you what not to do, what to do. And then what I thought was really freaking cool is they have a full exploded version, like, of all the assembly, the whole assembly diagram, everything, the wheels, what size they are, how everything. just everything. I like this. This is really cool. This makes you able to disassemble this totally and not screw up when assembling it again. At least not screwing up so much. And it's in English. And it's really good. And then there's a sale parts view where you can see what you can get for spare parts for it directly as well. That's really neat, man. Already there, that's like a super bonus, I think. Because if you're gonna be riding this one hard, not flying it hard, you're probably gonna break something. And that was one of the reasons I bought this as an extra part to begin with. I think this was the first thing I actually ordered, which is this smart bumper. It screws in. You have to take the one that's off, and it just screws in like that. Yeah, it's pretty weird. It's not perfect because these screws just go into the, yeah, but it's good enough anyway. Otherwise, you can always just put, I have the original part that's here, which is just this little plastic front bumper. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, that's just to protect the screws, I think. That's a really small part. You can get different versions. I like this one because this has lights, red lights in the front. Let me find a battery. Let me just pause that. So yeah, battery. So they sent me some batteries with this, and they're really crap. I'm sorry to say. They look used. I've already trashed one of them because the cells were way out of balance, and they have all these. Look at this. That doesn't look new. This looks really, really like an old one. But anyway, they sent this, and then they sent a smaller one as well. But let me just plug it in and show you guys. By the way, if you get this, then things might look a little bit different. These zip ties, I've done this. Moved the motor wires to, instead of being up here, there. So I had a shelf so I could mount a VTX. What else did I do? I also changed something here so that the on-off switch is there. It's normally on top. I can't really show you the original because I don't have that. These are mine. I made these because I already lost one of these spongy bits. But luckily, if you buy the Eachine VTX 03, if you're lucky enough, they send you this stuff where the VTX is in, and this is really good material for that. So I made my own. Thank you, Eachine. You've always just done both good and bad, but mostly good. In my eyes, anyway. Let's turn this on. You can see, we've got some red lights in the front. It's fucking neat. I've glued these in place. These are like covers. They just click on, and I always worried that if I crash into something, I would lose them. So I've glued them on, and they're still on there. So yeah, you should probably do that. If you get this, route your wires underneath this, not on top, because when this bounces up, you can actually cut your wires against this. That happened to me, so one of these is shorter than the other, but they give plenty of wire, plenty, so you can do that quite a lot of times before you route them right. Anyway, so this is on a 2S battery, and yeah, that was just so you could see, and it's very nice. It's got a fan, everything's good. Yeah, it's a good car. So, what else can I say about this? Yeah, yeah, this is the interesting part. So, right here is the receiver, which is kind of funky, and it doesn't come with this plug because I made this. You can see right there. That goes out here, wrote it in, lots of zip ties because nothing's really zip tied in place. The speed controller is glued on with some silicone stuff. So, and you can't put double-sided sticky tape on that for some reason. So you have to grind it off. I can't show you because it's zip tied in. But let me just say, if you get this off to move it, like forward or backward or whatever you want to do, turn it around, you're going to have to remove all that silicone stuff. And I actually ended up using an X-Acto blade for most of it. Trying to cut it off. Just be wary, and then sandpaper to sand the rest of it down, because double-sided sticky tape just won't stick to that silicone stuff for some reason. It's just the way it is. Yeah. So there's a receiver, and the receiver has 4 outputs, which is pretty neat because then it's just the standard new receiver with the for about 100 meters, 110 meters range, something like that. It has a bit of delay, but I think that's because it has 9% what do you call it, neutral gear, which is quite a lot on such a small. That's 9%. So it'll start, and then you only have this, so it's kind of jumpy, and people say it has delay. I'm not too sure that it has delay because it doesn't when you're actually going. So I just think it needs to have maybe 3 or 4% neutral, right? You can do that electronically, connecting this thing to a device where you can set the settings of it. But the receiver is quite cool. It comes with 2 extra outputs so that you could put 2 servos on there. So you can do all kinds of weird stuff. They're both inverted versions of the other outputs. So it's an inverted throttle and an inverted, right? So that's pretty weird, but at least that's what I think. Or maybe they're just too inverted of the other ones. So yeah, it'll make sense if you know something about servos. But basically, if you plug it in the same way, then if this goes that way, then the other servo would go that way, doing the same input. Okay, and you can do some neat things with that. Or you can just use the 5-volt out to power a VTX, which I've done, and the lights. and then you just plug in the VTX. So I've done it so that I can plug in the VTX. I'm going to do it so that I can plug in a wire from the VTX to the camera as well, because I had an accident. Anyway, let me just do something here so I can show you guys. Right, so as I said, I had the VTX, which is this little e-sheen thing. 300 milliwatt, which is really good because it's got the range that the car has. You don't need more video range than the car has, because otherwise you're going to be driving out of range a lot. So so this is pretty perfect. I might put them 400 milliwatt on and run it on 300 milliwatt or something like that, just to be sure that it's actually doing it. But this seems pretty good, and I can see the channel on it as well because it has one of these screens. And I just had it stuck down there with double-sided sticky tape, routing the antenna up through the canopy through a hole that I melted with my soldering iron, and melted a little slot for the wires as well, as you can see there, just a little, so the wires can be here. And that makes me able to put a rubber grommet like this down there and hold everything pretty much in place, so that it doesn't tug on the pads on the what's it called, video transmitter. Anyway, this let's talk about this, because I know where I got it from, but I don't know if you can just buy this as it is. I don't really have a link, but this is part of an FPV kit that comes with a drone frame for a toothpick. Boom! The A Pro 125 I can't remember. Yeah, the A Pro 125, 120. A Pro. Just the letter A, P-R-O. And it's a 1.5mm drone frame, True X, made for toothpicks. And it's actually pretty nice. I built my first toothpick on this platform. But I didn't use this stuff because I used some other thing. And now some other canopy. Now I just use the ones that come from Newbie Drone. Isn't it Newbie Drone? I think it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know, these much better suited for that setup. But it's actually really nice. So what I found out was that it comes like this. This is what comes with the frame. This weird kit. And then I bought some supports for cameras. 3D print supports for cameras. Not pretty, and yeah, it's just a little thing. And gluing all that stuff together, I managed to Sorry, I'm just trying to find it because I lost it. I managed to make this. And there's an ant camera in here that's glued in as well. Now, flipping this upside down, what happened was the camera went forward and I grinded off the wires of the plug. The plug was still in here. The wires were just off. And nothing's happened to the camera, nothing's happened to the VTX. And nothing's really happened to the plugs. So I'm going to route the wires underneath the camera instead, make a hole underneath this. So it comes up here, the wires, so that goes inside. So that there's less hanging out. I think that's my plan. And then I already ordered a better antenna for the VTX. And yeah, a right-hand circular polarized. And then I think that's how I'm going to be running it. So these are plastic nylon screws. And I just use some Loctite on them before screwing these bolts in. And this gives a really great picture also. It's good support for the camera. For some reason, there's not a lot of bouncing around in the video feed because it's all shock absorbent. So this really works really well. And there's even a spot if you want to mount an HD camera of some sort to get some HD footage of you and the camera. That'd be fucking awesome. But yeah, this is my solution, and that's how I'm driving at FPV, and I'm really happy with it. It's working really well. That is a brilliant position for that ant light camera, and the ant light camera just fit in snugly in here. So yeah, I had everything. So this is my solution. Really happy with this. The first plan was actually to mount this 2500 milliwatt VTX V4 thing in it, but it's gonna melt through all the plastic in the whole car. I think it's just gonna get so hot. But now I have one of these, which could be interesting to play with on a drone. When I get my ELRS going, I might want to make a long range thing. So cool. Anyway, let's cut to the FPV footage of this thing, and then I'm just gonna say thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the video coming, and hope you enjoyed all the information about this WLToys 144010 FPV version. And yeah, you can power the camera and these lights off the car, which is really nice, off the actual receiver. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. And as always, drive hard. And see you in the next one.
Present time. Organized my son, he has a trouble with the